Hello there, it's another Sunday. Thank you for allowing us into your homes. My name is Michael Obudu. The show is the Business Weekly Show here on Citi TV, where we bring you 1 hour of all the news that made the headlines this week in the business world. Are you ready? Let's go. Workers of the National Lotteries Authority are not happy at all with how the company is being managed. They have raised concerns over a number of issues, including the non-payment of claims to winners of lotteries across the country. A number of them say they have been attacked by some of these customers because of this. Now, to show their displeasure, they stormed the head office of the company in protest, and they insist that the CEO of the company must resign. Here are their reasons.
This red banner with inscription "Ameya must go" welcomed visitors to the headquarters of the National Lottery Authority on Monday morning, following what the staff consider as failure of the management to settle claims due winners of lottery draws under the authority, leading to several attacks on the lives of staff of the authority. According to the staff, Monday morning's action is only to protect the staff of the authority from being harmed.
We are acting under Section 119 of the Labour Act, which says that if a worker finds himself at a workplace where he thinks that his safety, his life and health is in danger, he can remove himself from the work.
Some lotto marketing company operators who ordinarily should be in their kiosks selling NLA products also joined in the demonstration with allegations that Mr. Kofi Osei Ameyao's involvement in other private lottery ventures are causing him to lose focus on the mandate of the NLA.
Kid is a company that is selling NLA products on mobile phones on air. And Texta is a company from Veterans Association of Ghana. They came in with their own product. We told them that product won't sell, but now they are selling the products of NLA, and they are paying. And it's not paying the wings of the LMCs with the original people who are covered by a 722. So what we are saying is that Ameyao must leave. He should be investigated on the importation of the Lotto kiosks. Those ones you see over there. That's the second issue. He's trying to kill our business, but not providing us with paper roll, not paying us. These are the two things that make the Lotto sell. He's not doing it, and he's promoting the interests of Texta and Kid.
Just when staff were stressing their case about the failure of the authority to pay wins, some lottery winners popped up to the scene amidst the demonstration with evidence of their claims, which have not been settled from as far back as November 2020.
240,000 Ghana cedis since November.
240,000 Ghana cedis?
Yeah, 240,000 Ghana cedis since November.
And then what has been the explanation from the NLA?
There's no explanation from them. There's no explanation. Go and count, if you can, go and count these 2 weeks.
Some staff of the NLA also said the inability of management to pay salaries for the month of February is further indicative of the financial woes of the authority.
Our salary is being paid in thoughts now. It has never happened in NLA. When Ameyao came, he started paying salary early. Fine, he was paying, we won't say he wasn't paying, he was paying salary early. And then all of a sudden, sometimes our salary goes to the following month. It has never happened in NLA. It has never happened. Up till now, they've not paid February salary. They've not paid clothing allowance. No increment since that one can we even talk for his 4 years here, he has increased salary 15%.
The NLA Staff Union Chairman Eric Tamaklo, however, used the opportunity to appeal to disgruntled lottery winners across the country to spare the lives of the staff of the authority.
Opportunity as staffs to plead through the media to the Ghanaian populace at large, especially the winning public, that they should stop attacking staffs for non-payment of wins.
Meanwhile, the NLA Staff Union has resolved to call off the action following an intervention by the National Labour Commission.
Freight forwarders say they are against an announcement of an increase in tariffs at the Tema port. The announcement was made in February and was expected to be implemented in March, that is this month. Although it is yet to be carried out, the freight forwarders say it is illegal and must be scrapped. Well, during the week, the sector minister designate made an announcement that these freight forwarders find rather favorable. Let's get the details.
Some members of the consultative forum, made up of the Concerned Freight Forwarders and Traders Association (COFT), the Ghana Union of Traders Association (GUTA), Importers and Exporters Association, Food and Beverages Association of Ghana, among several other industry players at the press conference, took turns to impress upon various stakeholders to call the shipping lines to order. According to them, the shipping lines have literally turned the country's port into a gold mine where all manner of charges are slapped on the ordinary importer. According to the chairman of the Concerned Freight Forwarders and Traders Association, the port additional charges scheduled to be paid by importers starting March 1 is unfair and illegal as it is in contravention of the Ghana Shippers Authority Regulations 2012 LI 2190. Mr. Afriwa at the press conference called on the Ghana Shippers Authority to revert to its laws and bring the shipping lines under control.
This so-called port additional surcharge increment has no legal backing, has no authorization, and is contrary to Ghana Shippers Authority Regulation 2012 LI 2190. The Ghana Shippers Authority Regulation 2012 LI 2190 Regulation 5 states, for the purpose of negotiations, an association representing shipping service providers that provide services to shippers shall notify the authority 3 months before the beginning of each calendar year of the level of structure of the charges that the shipping service provider intend to administer. All the provisions posited above, not a single one has been fulfilled. We have absolutely not in doubt in our mind that the so-called increment in port additional surcharge by the shipping lines has no legal backing, has no authorization, and therefore should be disregarded.
The communications director of GUTA, Joseph Paddy, says members of GUTA are not ready to bear any additional charges before getting their goods out of the port.
We've expressed our displeasure to the fact that the shipping lines want to increase the tariffs at this critical moment where we are not in normal times. We've presented our displeasure to the Minister of Transport and Minister of Trade, but it's unacceptable and unaccepted for all the shipping lines to always come and impose tariffs on our local authorities. And we are not going to accept that, and we want the general public to know that these charges is not going to pass, and then we are also warning the freight forwarder, especially, that if you come to our table with any document that has increment, then they are going to take care of those increments. We are not ready. Importers and exporters are not ready to pay those charges.
The Executive Secretary of the Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana, Samson Asaki Awingobit, called for an amendment of the Ghana Shippers Authority's laws to become relevant as the loopholes in the Act are being exploited by the shipping lines.
For shipping line, what additional services are they going to render to an importer? They are not rendering any services. They can't tell us this is the new service that we are introducing to our importer. That is why our client, that is why we are trying to increase additional charges. And so if this is for liner charges, which they made us to understand, we will not accept it. If we allow them to implement this policy now, no importer has the right, as they have the right in negotiating freight. So it's a compulsory something that they want to impose. It's because the reasons are that they knew very well we have our laws to reprimand them, our laws to punish them. It's not punitive. The Ghana Shippers Authority Act, the Parent Act, is so weak. We want to advocate that the Ghana Shippers Authority should go back to government through our minister designate now. If he's confirmed, they should go back to Parliament and amend the Act.
Meanwhile, the Minister for Transport, Kwekwe Siama, has directed shipping lines to hold on to any increase in its port additional charges and revert to the Ghana Shippers Authority to follow its ally to the latter. The minister made the announcement during a meeting between the shipping lines and the industry players within the port space. Chairman of the Concerned Freight Forwarders Association, Ohineba Kwesi Afrewa, spoke with City Business moments after the minister's directive, and he described the move as a heartwarming one.
We are stakeholders in the port when it comes to the service providers in our port. What that we are putting across the shipping lines that in as much as we need them, they also need us before they can do their business. So let us all sit down and judge and come with one conclusion, so that whatever has been their problem and whatever has been our problem too, we can sit at the round table and have solution for future businesses.
Do you have money in your bank accounts that you've left unattended to for about 2 years and are wondering what happens to it? Well, do you cease to own it, or do you lose some of it? You have no need to worry at all, because the Bank of Ghana issued a recent directive to all financial institutions mandating them to manage such monies under a special account. I'm sure you want to know the details of this account. We spoke to a banking expert and he gave us all the details.
The directive by the Bank of Ghana, which is pursuant to Section 92 of the Banks and Specialized Deposits Taking Institution Act 2016, explained that a dormant account could be a current or savings account with credit balances and their derivatives with no customer-initiated activity by the account holder or a third party on the account holder's behalf for a period of 2 years. In the case of fixed deposits or investments scheduled by a customer to roll over upon maturity, and the rollover has persisted for more than 3 consecutive rollovers or 2 years, a regulated financial institution shall initiate actions to re-identify the customer, renew consent to continue the instructions, and update the customer's records. The directive shall, however, not be applicable to accounts that are subjects of litigation, fraud, investigations by a regulatory authority or law enforcement agencies and others. Importantly, in an effort to locate a dormant account holder, a regulated financial institution shall also not disclose the account balances and any other sensitive information to any third party. Banking consultant Nana Otua Champong explains how important this initiative is to the country's banking sector.
A very important area, and for almost everybody, in the sense that anybody who interacts with a regulated financial institution, i.e. a universal bank, a savings and loans company, a finance house, a rural bank or microfinance, is affected by this directive. And this directive is giving power under Section 92 of the Banks and Specialized Deposit Taking Institutions Act. So this act came into being in 2016. All the different regulated financial institutions had different criteria for defining what a dormant account is. Some said accounts that have not been operated for 6 months, some said 12 months, and so on. But now Section 143 of this Act 930 defines uniformly. Before Bank of Ghana came out with this directive, the research that was done showed that there were literally millions of cedis in the regulated financial institutions where the owners have not come to claim, and therefore the banks were tempted to use them. Sometimes, deviant staff will put their hands in that because they know that either the person has died or they have gone abroad and has never come back.
He adds that the Bank of Ghana should do its best to ensure commercial banks comply by the directive.
Whilst all the banks are supposed to familiarize themselves with the sections, not only the banks, all the financial institutions, regulated ones, are supposed to familiarize themselves with the provisions of the Act. Occasionally, Bank of Ghana also has to juggle them a little bit when they go on inspection to ensure that they are doing what the Act has them to do.
Financial institutions that breach provisions of this directive shall be liable to an administrative penalty of not more than 10,000 penalty units. Notwithstanding the penalty specified, the Bank of Ghana may impose any other penalty or take any remedial action that the Bank of Ghana considers appropriate.
I didn't have light for 3 days during the week. Now imagine going around looking for a place to iron your clothes just to come to work. I was even beginning to think that, is Dumso back? Well, for you, what was your story? Well, managers of the country's electricity, well, one of them, Gridco, says there really isn't any cause for alarm. They have been explaining one of the reasons behind the outages.
For some weeks now, different parts of the country have been experiencing power cuts, with the most recent one happening on Wednesday morning. According to the Ghana Grid Company Limited, Gridco, the closure of an emergency valve at the West Africa Gas Pipeline Company, WAPCO, is to blame for Wednesday's power cut. This incident and the previous ones have caused many Ghanaians to take to social media and other platforms to raise concerns about the possible return of Dumso, with some demanding the release of a load-shedding timetable. But Gridco, in attempts to allay the fears of citizens, has explained that the power outages are only as a result of some temporary challenges in the power supply chain. The corporate communications manager of the company, Ebenezer Amankwa, is assuring Ghanaians of the company's commitment to improve consistency in power transmission. He made these statements in an interview with Citi Business News.
Let me just, first of all, allay the fears of Ghanaians about the possible resumption of the Dumso period we experienced some years back. Dumso is not back, and I want to emphasize. There continues to be some challenges in the power supply chain because we work with machines and infrastructure. And as and when they happen, our responsibility is to ensure that we are able to keep the system back up in terms of trying to make adjustments here and there until such a time that the issues are resolved. And we can testify that the outages have not been prolonged. Usually within an hour or two, it is restored because we are really in the background ensuring that the system is up and running. And where there are issues of curtailment, we're able to go there and try and sort it out. Together with our key stakeholders, ECG and also the NETCO on the distribution side. And then on the generating side, VRA, all the other plants we have, Asokli, Car Power, and all the other plants. And I share in everybody's frustration. Nobody wants their lights to go off. And that is the commitment we have as a key member of the power supply value chain to ensure consistency.
President Akufo-Addo stated in his 24th COVID-19 update to the nation of plans of manufacturing locally COVID-19 vaccines and other vaccines. This is going to be a big win for the country, especially with the commencement of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. And well, we could literally become the vaccine hub of the continent. And the good news is that the Pharmaceutical Manufacturers Association of Ghana said they are committed to seeing this come true.
The announcement by President Akufo-Addo on the drive towards local production of vaccines came days after Ghana received 600,000 doses of the AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine made by the Serum Institute of India via the COVAX facility. So far, deployment of the vaccines to some 43 epicenters in 3 regions across Ghana has been ongoing since March 2nd. With government's target of vaccinating some 20 million Ghanaians by the end of the year, some stakeholders such as the Pharmaceutical Manufacturers Association of Ghana have been calling for support for local players to produce some of the vaccines. Speaking to Citi Business News on the announcement by the President, the Executive Secretary of the Pharmaceutical Manufacturers Association of Ghana, Lucia Ade, said effective public-private partnership will be critical to ensure government's goal of local production of vaccines is achieved.
We of course very pleased that the government has mentioned or announced that it will set up a committee to ensure that vaccine development is done in the country. You are well aware of the fact that we have been advocating for that, and we are pleased with the news to be part of, the whole committee or the whole process. I think this is history in the making. So yes, we are involved. We've had some engagements with the Ministry of Health, some engagement with the Ministry of Information, and then I believe we are going to contact several other governmental agencies.
She meanwhile outlined some support that government can give to local stakeholders to ensure they are in a position to support the local production drive.
And I would say that the main suggestions or supports that we would need first of all would be affordable finance, because three of the companies who would be interested in manufacturing the vaccines would need some level of finance to be able to make it world standard. So affordable finance that is comprehensive and timely at an affordable rate would be something that we will look forward to. You also know that vaccines generally are given for free if you look at vaccines for children and things like that. So it means that we'll need some guaranteed market from the government, because sometimes it's a bit difficult to sell it on the open market. So if we get that guaranteed market from government, then it's going to help us in the right direction. And then we'll need some incentives, we bring in a lot of machinery, some of which have VAT attached to it and a few other things. So we will be pleased with the fact that government will give us some more incentives. And I believe that as engagement is ongoing, we'll sit down with government and we'll be able to draft some of the policy documents that are relevant for this. We have some that we've developed and submitted, and then I'm sure we'll do more of that.
The vetting of President Akufo-Addo's minister nominees has been ongoing for a while now. We do know that a number of them have actually been sworn in. But the vetting process wasn't without the usual drama, intriguing questions, and some very surprising responses from some of the nominees. But well, we are focusing on ministers whose role directly impacts the business world. Here are highlights of their vetting.
The month-long vetting began on Wednesday, February 10th, 2021. The Communications and Digitalization Minister-designate, Ursula Owusu-Ekufo, who spent close to 6 hours before the Appointments Committee, updated the House on government's decision to acquire a stake in Airtel Tigo, assuring that the jobs of the workers of the company will be safeguarded.
NCA had to refund the monies that they had collected from those that they fined. In the short term, it would take over the assets and liabilities of Airtel Tigo. Government is yet to take a decision on what it will do in the long term with this asset. But we would engage with the stakeholders and appropriate consultants and advisors in taking this decision. But our intention is to maintain it as a going concern.
Madame Owusu-Ekufo also hinted of plans to tax charges on mobile money as part of efforts to increase government revenue. Touching on the state of roads in the country, the Roads and Highways Minister-designate, Kwesi Amoakwata, had this to say.
And if you take the condition of roads can be categorized into three. Any road lying anywhere would either be good, fair, or poor. And as at 2017, 39% of our roads were considered to be good, 32% fair, and 29% poor. But I always maintain that there is not much difference. Of course, if you use or you wear technical lenses, you will see the difference. But to the ordinary layman, there was no difference between fair and poor.
On employment, the Employment and Labour Relations Minister nominee, Ignatius Baffour-Iwua, indicated that the Akufo-Addo administration created about 3 million jobs in its first term.
Number of jobs, yes, it is true. On 1st May 2018, I indicated that the government of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo had created approximately 1 million jobs. And even though I don't have the exact figures for end of 2020, the last time we reported on was in September 2020, and then the figure was around 3 million jobs.
On his part, Minister-designate for Railways Development, who was also the former Energy Minister, John Peter Amewu, revealed that the government had reduced the country's energy sector debt by about 45%.
The energy sector debt stands at about 1.5 billion US dollars from a figure of about 2.7 billion dollars. I've stated earlier on that the Ministry of Finance has already cleared all the debts, it owes ECG. So the debt today is about 1.5 billion dollars through reconciliation, and I think that's a very good effort.
He also indicated that it cost the government over 1 billion Ghana cedis to provide the electricity subsidies announced last year as part of its relief package for Ghanaians amidst the COVID-19 pandemic.
The electricity relief, which we call the COVID relief that His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo introduced, basically was to address the suffering of Ghanaians during the peak period of the COVID. A total of quite close to about 1 billion Ghana cedis was paid, and these have been segmented between ECG, VRA, and then NETCO. Mr. Chairman, I have details of the payment which I can tender to this committee. The total payment to date is about 1 billion US dollars. Citi, sorry. For instance, the ECG customer populations and revenue causes a total of almost about, as at the end of April, May, June 2020, we have about 731 million Ghana cedis. That from NETCO total up to 140 million Ghana cedis, and that of VRA total up to 166 million Ghana cedis. Mr. Chairman, you recollect that His Excellency had again extended it for 3 months. That 3 months addition, of course, is not here, but it also ends up approximately about another 200 million cedis. So if you add the 200 million cedis to the 1.15 that we're talking about, it will be in the range of about 1.3 billion Ghana cedis as a cumulative relief for Ghanaians.
In the area of tourism, the Minister-designate for Tourism, Arts and Culture, Dr. Ibrahim Mohammed Awal, says he expects the sector to become the #1 foreign exchange earner for the country in the next 4 years.
Our national festivals of arts and culture will have to come back on stream so I can create data. You can't have effective tourism without a good arts and culture background. We need to develop all the three. It's intertwined. So we need to develop our arts, cultural heritage to enhance tourism. We think that over the next 4 years, tourism in the Chairman should be #1 compared to GDP from #4. We can gross $5 billion averagely from the next 2 years. Tourism making #1 is foreign exchange to this country. The $5 billion for me, I think, is even for the next 2 years. The next 4 years should be doing $6 billion. In the year of return in 2019, we grossed $3.3 billion according to the figures. This is just 1 year. If we improve our internal tourism drive, improve our arts and cultural heritage, we could be able to grow $6 billion by 2024. Mr. Chairman, it's not impossible. With the support of every stakeholder, we'll do it. Thank you.
Meanwhile, the Minister-designate for Trade and Industry, Alan Martin, disclosed that the common currency by the West African states, ECO, still remains on the drawing board because of the inability of some of the member states to meet the common convergence criteria.
We all agree that a common currency in ECOWAS will enhance trade between our countries, and that's why all the governments have pursued vigorously this initiative. Unfortunately, if you look at the convergence criteria, it is not altogether surprising that we've not been able to move forward to achieve our objective, because it's very difficult to be able to get all countries achieve the convergence criteria at the same time.
He, however, indicated that efforts are underway to tackle multi-currency trading issues under the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Agreement.
There's a new initiative which is pioneered by the Afri-Exim Bank, which is called the Payment Settlement Mechanism. And that allows every state party or traders in a state party to be able to use their local currency to trade. That's to, let's say, if they're importing, to import goods from another African country without the benefit of a common currency, which was really the objective of standardizing the medium of exchange.
Customers of defunct fund management companies If you're wondering when next you get the rest of your money, Madam Jemima Owari, the Registrar General, the one in charge of ensuring you get it, says she's just waiting for orders from the courts to do so. I'm sure by now you have received the 50,000 Ghana cedis that was released in December last year. As for the rest, Madam Owari says not to worry, you will definitely get them.
The Securities and Exchange Commission in November 2020 announced that government had authorized the partial payment of up to 50,000 Ghana cedis to all customers of the remaining defunct fund management companies whose monies were locked up. This followed an earlier directive by government to pay customers whose claims were validated. A statement issued by the SEC said the customers will be paid while the court process on the liquidation petition and other matters continue. The Amalgamated Mutual Fund PLC then commenced cash payments under the partial bailout scheme to these clients. These payments are still ongoing, according to the Registrar General, Jemima Owari, who is also the official liquidator for the collapsed fund management companies. But giving updates on the payment process, Mrs. Owari, in an interaction with Citi Business News, noted that she is waiting for more orders from the court in order to hold more creditor meetings to continue the payment of the bailout packages.
For our end, we have finished our bit of class meetings and creditor meetings. That was at the end of last year. This year we haven't held any yet. I'm waiting for a few more orders from the courts. Once I get that, then I'll have another round of creditor meetings and class meetings. But you remember the government gave out a partial bailout package. So all those companies that have not as yet received orders to wind them up, at least they've gotten a partial bailout of 50,000 Ghana cedis. That is currently ongoing. So payments are ongoing, and so that is why there's a bit of calm on that front. But I will definitely be having a round of meetings again, of class and creditor meetings. Yeah.
In addition to the continuation of the payment process, she told Citi Business News about her office's expectations for the year 2021, which includes becoming an autonomous entity.
We're just trusting that this will be a better year. Apart from this beneficial ownership that we are rolling out, remember that this is the year that we also have to get going the new office of the Registrar of Companies.
Right.
Yes. So this year we have to ensure that we have our board in place, and then we actualize. There should be a decoupling. There's going to be a decoupling of the Registrar General's Department from the Office of the Registrar of Companies. And once that takes off, then all the other provisions in Act 992 will also be implemented. We're going to have different divisions. We're going to have a more autonomous status. So quite a lot of things we have to do for this year.
Many people entered 2021 with the hope of a better year, particularly because the previous one wasn't a great one, especially because of COVID-19. But for traders in the Western North region, their fortunes haven't changed. And this is because they blame it on low sales due to the non-payment of cocoa farmers in the area for their beans. I hear though, the government plans on paying them soon. But until then, these traders can only hope that things get better soon.
Majority of residents here in the Sefrioso municipality and its catchment areas generate their income basically from cocoa farming. However, most farmers are yet to receive any money for the sale of dried cocoa beans since December 2020. This situation, according to some traders at Sefrioso Market, has negatively affected their activities, making life unbearable for them. These traders are hopeful that if government releases funds through the LBCs to foot the bills owed cocoa farmers, trading activities will be on the rise as expected. Speaking to Citi Business News, some of the traders had this to share.
How they will be sunset. Ya kwa je long akofa niema. Niema na ne to ne nko. E de nya bia kwa kotu enti how de ye will be pa.
Ya no kula e dane de. Sesi a wa mo ya amusi wa kokko ska ni wo.
akuafo yi kwakali koko a wo munya sika embom so ka wo munya sika e na wo so ba abontra beto ade ya ba ye nu ane si yete ha ya ntoshe ene esi a ye didi nkomu enti se si ade ede ya to aba wi ade ede pa
sinsa so enya ne se izo oton ade a ya nta akuafo ni nya sika nto mo ba wo nya ade na beto me so mu saa no mu gina ha ebu akra no osu se na menya bi amepe anso sikanti onye bi desa ma ho kira ba ha pa akuafo dia ho kira ba mu ti aba ne mu akuafo e mo ho kire wo mo abo kira mo papa akuafo mo bo aveska no mpani fo no ne fo mo so no ya me tim medru ntam akuafo no abo ho nto mo aba wo de nam sa o medru no kra na akuafo no kra mu sika no kra nso mo tia enti esra mo aba no se na na kufu ade esra no se sika no le ba amari brantam na fe ba bia ba fa no so no on fa bank straight na brantam say the be yaku afo mo sabe kan ntam.
Nowadays when it comes to market they don't buy our things. Even the transportation is also a problem for us and it has affecting us. Even if you go in for loan prana when we come they don't buy the things.
One man's poison, they say, is another man's meat. Some of the consumers who spoke to Citi Business News say in spite of some food crop farmers' inability to transport their produce to the market due to financial constraints, vegetables, on the other hand, is relatively cheaper than before.
During the Christmas era, prices of vegetables were very dear. But today, my observation is that prices of vegetables are cheaper than before. For onion, it's very good. The prices are good. Tomatoes, the prices are good. Gardeners, the prices are good. But our only problem is about fish, dry fish, meat, and plantain. Farmers are not bringing the plantain. I think it is because of the dry season.
Goods and high demand for them. Hence, the prices are raising up. But in other ways too, some goods that the farmers do come to buy from town back, like the ingredients, are also in abundance. The farmers are not coming, so the few workers, government workers to be precise, who are able to buy.
To ensure that mining communities benefit from mining activities in the community, the Mining Development Fund has introduced a scheme. The scheme is to ensure that only projects that impact positively on the livelihoods of residents within such areas are implemented. So far, about 5.6 million Ghana cedis has been disbursed to that effect. That's a good one.
Following years of lamentations about underdevelopment from inhabitants of mineral-rich communities, the Mineral Development Fund was created to receive mineral royalties for community development. This led to the establishment of mining community development schemes to be managed by local management committees that receive 20% of the MDF allocations. Dr. Lawrence Kweku Ama, who is the administrator of the fund, speaking to Citi Business during the training on strategic local economic development planning for local management committees in Takoradi, said the establishment of local management committees is a paradigm shift from the past year's poorly managed mineral revenues. He said 5.6 million Ghana cedis has been released to the schemes. He however stressed the need for the managers to focus on capital projects.
It's a bottom-up approach that the community themselves, they own the project and the project belongs to the community. Therefore, they have to identify their needs, identify whatever project that they want to undertake. And when it comes to that financial aspect, we're trying to prevent or trying to ask them that they don't use it for recurrent expenditure, but more of that capital expenditures. For instance, they are not allowed to use more than 2% of that act for their managerial purposes. So when you are giving 100,000, you have to use only 2% of that money to manage their affairs.
The co-chairman of the Ghana Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative, Dr. Steve Mantiao, also cautioned the local management committees against duplication and parallel projects.
The mere introduction of this scheme creates the impression that, on the other hand, there's been some failure on the part of the Assembly in putting the community share of mineral royalties to good use. And therefore, the need to create this parallel framework for using a portion of some additional revenue that has been provided for in the law for the same purpose of promoting development at the local level. So when you create a parallel structure in the form of the mining community development scheme, and you don't manage that process very well, you have the two schemes going in different directions or either duplicating their efforts.
But the country director of wages, which has partnered the MDF, says the local management committees are deepening transparency and participation in the management of mineral revenues at the local level.
Right now, a lot of the things we are seeing is involvement, a lot of active participation in decision making at the community level, and also the capacity of even the leaders or the committees that are in charge of managing these funds, because at first some didn't even know the disbursement formula. How much come to us? Why is it this amount? A lot of people didn't know that, but as we have been doing the engagement, that information has come to light.
Getting cassava to buy at Techiman in the Bunu East region is really becoming difficult. I hear it's because fewer farmers are growing the produce. At the Techiman market, the price of cassava has literally doubled. Does that mean that you'll be getting half the quantity of fufu with the same budget you had early on? Well, let's find out how this is affecting people in the area.
Cassava is a staple food used for several Ghanaian meals. Prices for the produce increased by almost 100% in February due to a low supply on the markets. A bundle of cassava, which previously sold for 15 to 20 Ghana cedis, now sells at 30 Ghana cedis. Cassava sellers who spoke to Citi News say the low supply is as a result of farmers turning their attention from cassava to cashew.
Yes, the answer is the cashew. And it is a my young sassy, to be Kohara. Now, Jody, the average no be dry. As I said, before I see a requia for any Mobacacra. And until you say, Nebo Equasoca cry. I almost are sending in a diamana, and Tama and Yabanchipio. And in Tinamano Bona Cosson. Ah, Cosson, so Montana Sanka by Moya Cacra. Nanoton Cosson. And Maya, because I say Banchine Pinio. O madria man o kwa afoma wunya banchini bi so di ba se dia na no tono wo fom nti yasra ban o mo ya kakra nyenti bi hwa yamma.
The sellers also stated that the recent political tension in the Techiman municipality has also caused a low patronage of their produce.
Na every say ya to abasu wieye na kwasem di esa mbasabasa yesisi ya Techiman hanti ama ye duanya sana sai ama ese ba cha ye kura po ba ye nya atofo etimbe di nansa nanai na egudwa mane so ye nto ti no kwasem di esa sa case ya bebe he ama ese ba cha for so ye nya problem.
Local food sellers are also feeling the brunt of the surge in cassava prices, as cassava is a major component of the meals they serve. Augustine Asari, a food vendor, tells me this ball of fufu, before the increase in cassava prices, would sell for 3 Ghana cedis. He now sells the same quantity for 5 Ghana cedis, so he doesn't make losses.
It's a bunch of boy, in fact, and my aduane si no ya na atamsa ye bre ne say okodwa so a de wa omosi aboabo abanche na no e ma ye kokoto na say de ba be ye aduane a obi ba ya na ofiri se bi a ye aduane na ne boarding but enti sa banche ba ko pe na obeto no about bi a 30 cedis no eno amu na obetete obi bi afiri asade ye tua workers for ka enti banche na fact se ne bo ko animu a affect ye bi bia banche bo kwosoro a ma bibia bo ye den enamo den e ma ni nyina ne bo etimi ye den banche no an kura adwuma mu bibia nti se ne bo no pega kwa animu a ya na fact higher.
Residents in Techiman also told Citi News that some home meals are now more expensive to prepare.
For now, we can't even buy gari. And the cassava you go and buy after cooking, you not get anything. So it has really affected us. So we can't even buy it. For nowadays, we don't take fufu, like as we used to do. So the fufu maybe once in a week. So it has affected us.
Say bancha hard boy day na bancha so dey my hard when say okotokwa na no a enye de obenya no en no so dey asay no and all the same say gale boy day because first not to gale ko be na bo no better no be 6 and 3 cedi na 4 cedi but say e cost if to be 15 cedi and 18 cedis nti hard bancha na say dey hard when be brave pa o say bancha no asay nti no okoto mole no kra na say broni e cheap kra say go to mole na banch na be from no unya say dey was the from no because nya adwene tamani nya aboa dey.
I don't know if you noticed, during the Christmas season, the cost of eggs really shot up. It was all because of a shortage of maize, a key component in poultry feed production. The retailers of eggs say the increase really impacted sales for them. Well, I went to the markets to find out how they are faring now. The details are in this video.
Maybe I'm in say 20. Before Christmas, between 20, between 15. But the Christmas year, I'm marketing apart from Qatar.
Harriet Mensah has been selling eggs for over a decade, but she almost gave up on the trade because of the current market situation.
Sometimes depending size maybe 18, we work on 22, we work on 24. It's at the tono, am I Kasa na you want to say me jangu sando, but me share me would say about me kwa make sure customers and me baba dada wana me belaka say kusiano every week be obekono na omwatu every week be obekono watu nti me pamucho ebi ya mutiso mama sana ya make sure customers.
During the Yuletide, poultry farmers raised concerns about the limited supply of maize. This later resulted in a price hike of poultry products, including eggs. The challenge amid the closure of the country's borders compelled governments to issue permits to allow the importation of maize. But it appears the impact of the increase in egg prices still lingers.
The hike in December, eggs were selling between 12 cedis and 18 cedis. And the prices went up. It went as far as, I think, some were selling about 27 cedis a crate. It's come down considerably to about 22 cedis. And still, the farmers are being asked to bring it down. But now it's become tight because we've virtually reached equilibrium, below which now you'll be operating at a loss. So it's a difficult situation.
The Greater Accra Poultry Farmers Association believes the current situation is negatively impacting the business of its members.
The eggs have started piling up on the farms. The people who buy the eggs are not buying because of the prices of the eggs. And the farmers are also not able to bring down the price of the eggs because the feed prices, which constitute the major overhead cost, is also not coming down because the price of the maize haven't come down drastically. So the farmers are not able to reduce the cost of their eggs. And the farmers are complaining that they need to reduce it. So in fact, the people who buy are asking the farmers to reduce it. But the farmers are also not able to do that because they do not have the capacity to do that because of the price of the feed. So it's become a banter. And usually you have the consumers, the ultimate consumers. They buy in crates. But the people who take it off the farmers are the middlemen. Or the middle women in this case. They buy in bulk 500 crates, 1,000 crates, 2,000 crates and all of that when they come. But they are talking about prices. So they are not able to bring down the prices. And eggs are piling.
Some businesses in the egg retail space have been compelled to re-strategize to stay afloat. One of such is a startup company, Akoko Market.
Even for us as a company, we have also other clients who, by nature of their businesses, require or need eggs to work. So we are talking about the big industries like Boss Baker, and other companies who use eggs as part of the ingredients for their operations. So when we are not getting the supply from individuals and stores and homes, we try to focus more on these companies to be able to drive our sales. So I wouldn't say it affected us that much because we had an option in terms of clients.
Technology is a good thing, and clearly we all got to see its relevance, especially in the education space, as it enabled a lot of people undergo classes virtually amid the pandemic. But well, even though it is good, it is actually spelling doom for a number of businesses. One of such businesses are people who check BC placements for students at a fee. They say business did not boom at all this year for them. I'm sure you're wondering what the issue really is. The details are in this video.
This area used to have many junior high school graduates, together with their parents or guardians, being assisted to check their placements into senior high schools as they patronize the services of these operators. Joseph Kodia has been in this business for years, but he laments that with the improvement of internet access in the country, patronage has been slow, as their potential clients now have more options, including checking on their phones. He says he fears their businesses will be non-existent in the next 3 years. Kodia tells Citi Business News he has begun searching for other jobs since the business has been slow in recent times.
Because of the internet access, the business is gradually going down. Because of there's internet everywhere, you can get access to it. You can check it. There's a lot of cafes around. You can check it anywhere. It's no matter of coming to WAEC. I'm thinking of moving to another job. As for that job, it's up to me. But the way the things are going on, 3 years, it will collapse. Because getting access of internet is so simple that everything you don't have to come to work before you get access to anything.
He's not alone. Other persons facing similar challenges have been speaking to Citi Business News.
It's not much money as it is as before.
Why are you saying that?
Because a lot of people have opened internet cafes and there's no much pressure here. If there wasn't a lot of the internet cafes, they were all troop here. Since here is nearer to WAEC, so they thought that here is the check-in center. That's how it is.
Meanwhile, for persons like Ambrose Stella, who have adopted strategies to include other services in addition to the internet services, business has been booming.
Business has been not bad, it's good, we are managing. Yeah, yesterday here was full with students checking their placement, and there wasn't much challenging, and we're managing with the business. It's not bad.
So are you cashing in?
Yes, we're making some little cash, yes. It's very manageable. We are making, at least we know how things are. We give them at the affordable, as for them to also come and then do the placement. So we're getting some money. Yeah, at our side, it's okay, of course. Apart from the placement, there are other things that we do adding to what we are managing.
As Ghana still faces challenges with internet connectivity in many parts of the country, some persons say their only option is to rely on internet cafe operators since access is limited in their vicinities.
Well, all too soon, we've come to the end of this week's edition of the Business Weekly here on Citi TV. Don't forget to check out our website, Citi Business News, for regular news updates. And you shouldn't miss the Business Dashboard. It's at 7 p.m. every weekday, where we bring you all the news in the world of business on television. My name is Michael Obodu. Thank you for watching. Catch you same time next week. Stay safe, stay informed, and bye.